Hey, this is Darren Nicoli from The Next Level Sports Training. In today's video, we're going to be talking about linear speed mechanics, and we're going to go over some drills that will help you retrain your body to run correctly. There are two things that are involved in speed mechanics: arms and legs. Now, if you just walk naturally, you'll notice that your arms and your legs travel the same distance. If you were to try to take big strides with your arms and small strides with your legs, it's really something that's uncomfortable and you need to focus and think about it. So naturally, they're going to travel the same, so they work together. One of the things that we notice with our athletes that come in when we're talking about arms is that we'll see when they run, they'll cross their hands in front of their body, cross their hands in front of their face. Now what that's doing, without you realizing it, is that you're pulling yourself in this direction and then pulling yourself in the opposite direction when you want to be going straight ahead. So one of the things you need to focus on is not allowing your hand and your arms to cross in front of your face. You want all your force and momentum going in a straight line. So that's one of the things you need to work on, is keeping your hands by the side. Another problem that we see with our athletes, or some athletes when they come in, when it comes to arm mechanics, is that they let their arm go flat and they let their arm go straight as they're running, and they're really not getting much force out of their arms. And as we had said, the arms and legs travel the same distance. So the more force that you put into your arm, the more force you're going to get out of the opposite leg, which is the more force you're going to produce into the ground, and that's what's going to be driving you forward. So I'm going to show you a drill that you can work on that's going to help that. What you want to do with that is you got to think of just two words: hip to cheek. You want to keep your arm bent 90 to about 120 degrees. Now you don't have to really think about that, it's just a guideline, but you want to keep your arm bent so that when you drive it back, you should be right at about your hip, so right about your hip pocket. Then when you drive forward, you want it to be about cheek level. Now you don't want to drive it up to your cheek, you want to drive it out so that's just about cheek level. Because again, arms and legs travel the same distance, so the harder we drive this back, the harder this leg is going to drive into the ground, and then when we bring this up, that's going to help bring the leg up and out rather than just keeping it tight. Okay? So one of the drills that we work on is just very simply going by time. You want to do, say, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Take a little break. Just do those repetitively. And you just want to work on driving your elbow back so that you're at about hip, and then driving up so you're about cheek level, and just get a rhythm going and just work on that, and that will start building some muscle memory so that you keep your hands by your side and you're going from hip to cheek. Now when it comes to lower body, when it comes to legs, one of the mistakes we see our athletes make when they think that they need to get a big stride, they reach out and the foot lands out in front of their hip. Now the problem with that is, once you land there, you're actually stopping, because you see the angle here, you're actually stopping your speed, and then you have to pull yourself to go forward. And that's putting a lot of stress on the hamstring, so you're going to pull a hamstring. Plus also, you really can't pull much force. You can't really pull much weight. What you want to do instead is that when your foot comes down, it should be right under your hip, so that it's driving you forward. Now that takes the pressure off the hamstring, and also you can produce much more force pushing than you can pulling. What makes it seem like a big stride is when you drive the other leg up, produce force into the ground, and it's to travel through the air, let's say, and then when your foot comes back down again, it's under your hip. If you take a look at Olympic sprinters or anyone sprinting, running backs when they're running, slow it down, you'll see that their foot lands right by their hip. Okay? Another thing you want to do with your legs, just think, if I bring my knee about this high, I can only produce so much force into the ground, and that's what's going to drive me forward. If I bring my knee higher, I can produce a lot more force, which once again is going to drive me forward a lot faster. So that's what you want to work on. Some of the drills we work on to improve our leg mechanics, we're going to show in a second. I'm going to use Donovan as a demonstrator. And we're going to go over an A march, because there's a B march and a C march. We're just going to go to the A march. We're going to do an A skip, and we're going to do a run. Then we're going to show you a wall drill that puts you in the right angle, because while we're doing the A march and A run, or A skip and run, you'll see we're standing straight up as we're doing it. And obviously the force is going to be pushing you up. That's why we get into laying on the wall, which you'll see in a moment. It puts you at a 45-degree angle or so, which is what's going to drive you forward more than up. So we're going to show you those demonstrations in a moment, and I'm going to break it down, slow it down to show you exactly how it works. And these are some drills that you can work on for linear speed mechanics. Very soon we're going to be launching one of our programs which is going to get very much into detail with speed mechanics, and it's going to cover linear speed, lateral speed, and a lot more drills you can do, a lot more information that's going to help you become the best runner you can possibly be. Okay, first drill we're going to do is the A march. Then we're going to go over the A skip, and then the A run is going to lead us into the wall run. So you can see that it works a little bit of a progression that's going to work the mechanics of the arms and the legs to start building muscle memory so that this becomes a habit in the way that you run. Now Donovan's going to show us in a second how it's actually going to look once we put it into motion. But what we're going to work on, again, two things, arms and legs. So the arms, as we talked about a little earlier, you're going to keep them to your side, making sure that you do not cross in front of your face, so you want to keep them right here to the side. You want to make sure that you drive elbow down and back so that you get to your hip. So a little bit behind the hip is okay. And when you come up, you're going to go to about cheek level. And when you're talking about legs, we want to make sure we get our knees up high so that we can drive down with more force, which is going to drive us forward faster. As we all know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so the harder we drive this way, the faster we go that way. Once the knee is up high, we're going to drive it down hard, stay on the balls of our feet, don't go flat-footed, and that other knee is going to drive right up, and we're going to drive down, down, keeping our feet really close, right underneath the hips. So let's take a look. Donovan's going to show us now how the A march is going to look now that we're going to put it into motion. Okay, that was the A march. Now we're going to take that up one notch. We're going to progress a little bit, and we're going to do the A skip. Now the A skip, you're not going to think of actually like skipping around. It's actually just going to be a little pop of the foot. That's going to add a little bit of rhythm, a little more speed to the A march. Everything stays exactly the same. Arms are going to stay to the side. You're going to drive the elbow down and back so you get at about hip level, up to cheek level. Knees are going to come high. You're going to pound down hard, so that's going to drive you forward faster. And you want to make sure that you stay on the balls of your feet, don't go flat-footed. The only difference now is once we land, we're going to just add a little bit of a pop up onto the foot. Now some people, which is okay, you can modify this a little bit. You're going to get a little more of a skip. We're not doing power skips though. We're not coming up high. And you're going to see when Donovan does this, he actually gets a really good rhythm going and just barely comes off the ground, which again is perfectly fine. We just want to add a little rhythm to it, add a little speed to it, which is going to work us up into the A run. Okay, last part of the progression now. We'll go from the A march to the A skip. Now we're going to go into the A run. Way I explain it to the athletes, it's like doing high knees when we do a dynamic warm-up. You'll see when you're driving your knees up high and you're actually running now. The one difference between I see how we do this and from what I see when people do a warm-up and they're just doing high knees like in football practice is when they're doing that, they actually lean back as they're doing the drill. We don't want to lean back. because we want to get our body used to running a certain way. Remember, it's muscle memory, so we want to build a habit. So we want to make sure you actually lean into it a little bit. So tighten up your core, at least stay straight, actually a little bit of a lean forward. And another thing we see that we have to correct when people start doing this A run, because you're trying to go faster, you'll shorten up your stride, you'll shorten up your arm swings. You want to make sure you don't do that. We want full arm swings so we can get our knees up high, pound down hard, but don't try to go so fast that you start tightening up and shortening everything, because that's actually going to slow you down. So we're just going to get a rhythm going, high knees, the arms are going to drive again, hip to cheek. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Bring your knees all the way up, you're going to pound down hard, stay on the balls of your feet, and you're going to get a running motion going. And that's going to be the last progression until we actually get into some runs. So Donovan's going to show us how that's going to look right now. Okay, the last drill we're going to show you today, and there are a lot more that are involved in this, but last one I'm going to go over today is the wall run. So we're going to take that A march, then the A skip, progress into the A run, and now we actually want to get the body angle, get the body to the correct angle when you're running, because obviously when you're running you're not going to be standing straight up like we did with the A march, skip, and run. So Donovan's going to show us in a moment, but what we want to do here, you're going to have yourself or your athletes, if you're training your athletes, lean into the wall, so that your body ends up at about a 45-degree angle or thereabouts. If I was to let go of the wall here, I should fall forward. You don't want to be standing up straight where if you move your hands, you're not going to go forward. You want to actually make sure you're leaning forward a bit. You're going to keep your chest up, eyes looking ahead, just like you would do when you're running. And we're going to bring one knee straight up. You know when you have your knee up high enough, your foot should be facing right down to the ground. Okay? So this is the start position. Now, as a trainer, we're going to call out a certain number. And in the demo I'm going to do with Donovan, I'm just going to call out 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. That's how many strides he's going to take and then stop. And then I'm going to give him a go, and he's just going to go for it. Making sure you keep your body at the same angle and making sure that you're getting full strides and that you're driving your knee straight up and down. One thing that you want to make sure does not happen, again, if you're a trainer or if you're an athlete, make sure someone's watching and you make sure that you don't do this. You don't want to start doing the run and then get your head down, your shoulders down, because that's not the mechanics we're going to want to use when we're running. Also, you want to make sure that when you take your strides, if I call out, say, number 3, you want to make sure that you don't go real short, 1, 2, 3. You want full strides every time. Third thing you want to make sure, this is what we're trying to get rid of, is the foot coming back here instead of driving straight up and down like a piston. Okay? So if you're a trainer, make sure those things aren't happening. Those are the things you want to correct. If you're an athlete, make sure someone's watching or you're videoing yourself so that you learn the right mechanics and you don't start practicing the wrong way, because as we know, practice makes perfect. The truth is, perfect practice makes perfect. So make sure you're doing this right. Okay, so let's take a look at Donovan doing the demonstration. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go. Okay, good. All right, so that shows you the linear speed mechanic drills that we use. Again, there's a lot more that we do, and we're going to be putting those into our full program that will be available soon. But those are some main drills that you want to do to retrain your body, to build the muscle memory, to make the running form a habit, so that you run properly, you run faster. And it's the A march, the A skip, the A run, and then the wall drill. So hopefully you can put those into play, put those into practice, and that'll make you a better runner. If there are any other questions that you have, please contact me at Darrin, D-A-R-R-I-N, at thenextlevelsportstraining.com. I'll have that on the screen in a second. Or contact the high school sports junkie and the coach. Let us know what you have for questions. We'll answer them for you. Or any videos that you'd like to see, again, whether it be on nutrition, speed, strength, or sports skills. and we'll get a video put up that'll answer any questions that you have and help you become a better athlete. I appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully we'll see you again next week.